It's always so amazing that we can come together each year. There's always something happening different than the last year. I was sitting in the sun this morning thinking of Swami Radha and this being 100 years from her birth, and how amazing it is that in all the people of the world I happened to find her, and what she did for my life and for many people. But I just think it's so amazing that we're all together, and what is the reason, and what is it that we really need to do. In 1978 was the time she brought out the Kundalini book. She signed my book. And when I read that book, and I think I just sort of gobbled it up, there was something in it that I didn't know in myself that brought forth that vision of something that seemed to be beyond what I was living at the time. And for me, I think what we have is such a precious teaching, in that as people who can understand what the teachings mean in our life and live it. And we have been living it, and we have seen the results in ourselves and in other people. So we know that there's something really important there that has touched us all. And this year at the beginning, or sometime, because I'm just not sure when years end and begin anymore, we thought we needed to really show this, what we had, this treasure of teachings, and that we have really kept it close to us in our little forest area. And how are we going to widen it out, and what would that mean? And so we started. There were some seeds of starting. That was one thing. The other was the book, Carried by a Promise. For me this year has been from the beginning, from January with the tour and the book being available. And just seeing what it did on its own. Like it had a life of its own, but it was based on the life of a person who hadn't expected she was going to be on a book tour at any point in her life. And so I was just always amazed that I was talking about these things that were so me so long ago, and that people were that it was fresh for them. And as I spoke and toured and went to different places, the words would take me back to those places, so that I would revisit the events, and also the closeness of how that relationship with Swami Radha was built, and the threads and the things that I learned in my life and continue to learn. But at that point, you stumble along with a lot of things happening in your life, and eventually you get to a place where you're useful. and I could see that I could accept that I had done the things that I wanted for her, that I promised and would do. So now that there's another book coming out and more tours to farther lands, and hopefully more people writing in their diaries and reflecting and bringing the work forward, because everyone has a story. And it brings that acceptance of who and what you are and who and how people have helped you along the way. Because it's impossible to do it yourself. And when we see a room full of people like this, committed people, we want to bring more to you to help us, more of what we can do together and build something that is going to be more as permanent as it is now. Like I was saying the other day, if in the future it's as good and as beautiful as it is today, it'll be fine. And if it's better, it'll be great. So we're part of a way of coming into different stages of life. And so the ashram has reached another stage. And we're very conscious of it. We've been conscious of it for a while, in that we're building the infrastructure, we're building the teachers, we're building the people coming, we're building the youth. What's missing? What needs to be done? Who's going to do it? How are we going to get the teachings transformed, for other people to understand what is at the core of all of this, and why is it so important? I'm 70, so it means that I have a shorter view on life than I had before. And so we want to gather what we can and bring it forward in a way that's going to make the community whole in terms of an intergenerational way of living and being. And we know what we have to, that there are things that we can do, but there's only a few of us. And so we're always inviting the people who are committed to join in any way they can. And as soon as these little seeds of acknowledgement about where we were and why we're here and what we've got started something there, it started drawing people who could help us. And that is what I really appreciate, is by doing that, there's many levels of work in the ashram. We can't all stay in one place. We're here for our evolution. And the ashram demands that, as does your work and your practices. So, to think that the ashram would be the same year to year, it wouldn't be. Lifetime to lifetime, it wouldn't be. So right here, right now, we're in the middle of a transition. And it's a big one, but I'm just really appreciating that there are so many helpers coming forward. And going back to the Kundalini book, the teachings and how Swami Radha brought them to us, it is the path to the future. It tells us and gives us everything we need. And And it keeps telling us it's inside each one of us, that we have to do the work, that we have to do the inner work so that we have that core, so that the core stays through the initiations, the mantra, the brahmachari, sannyas, mantras, that hold the power of the lineage and is available for those who are going to be taking that commitment of knowing their self to heart. Because this could be a place, but it couldn't be a place at an ashram without the initiation. So luckily there's going to be a little pamphlet coming out shortly about initiations, just to give you some ideas and questions. We already have the sannyas book out. It could become a bestseller. Because eventually you're going to renounce everything anyway, so you might as well learn how to do it now. So there's there's that. So there's all of these coming togethers are important to realize that if you were given the ashram, what would you do? If you were the only person that had the teachings, what would you do? And that's what Swami Radha did. She came, the only woman. She made this. So we can only make it better, because she put so much energy into it. And every part of the going out, I found, it doesn't take big things to make the earth sparkle. It's all these little bits of sparks that people have brought to their teaching, to their families, to their work that makes the change. And so just do what you can at the stage you're at with the talents that you have. And it'll work out for all people. We need the world to change. And we can change our little spot.